We like to dive into the strange, fascinating, and often unexplored aspects of the world around us. For millennia, humans have depended on water for their survival, so much so that in the early days of our existence, we could not survive unless we built our civilisations near lakes, rivers, streams, or other bodies of water. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 harmful lakes to avoid. Man is caught swimming in UK's toxic Blue Lagoon. A man has been caught swimming in a lagoon that is a toxic waste dump, despite police filling it with black dye to put people off. The man, who has not been named, was said to have abused firemen nearby before deciding to take a dip in the water, which is full of toxic chemicals from a quarry. The site, in Buxton, UK, is also said to be full of animal carcasses, excrement, and even a rusting car floating just beneath the surface. The lake also contains harmful chemicals that can cause skin irritations, thrush, and illness, with the water reportedly having the same pH value as bleach. The lagoon's waters are often dyed black by police to deter swimmers from entering, according to the Derbyshire Times. It was last dyed black by police at the end of March 2021 in a direct response to people disobeying lockdown rules. This sparked backlash as the force was accused of abusing emergency powers during everything that's been going on. Former Supreme Court Judge Lord Sumption criticised Derbyshire Police for having shamed our policing traditions with frankly disgraceful efforts of trying to shame people exercising in the countryside. He said, "I have to say that the behaviour of Derbyshire Police in trying to shame people in using their undoubted right to travel to take exercise in the country and wrecking beauty spots in the fells so people don't want to go there is frankly disgraceful." Lake Natron. In 2011, while travelling to shoot photos for a new book on the disappearing wildlife of East Africa, across the ravaged land, photographer Nick Brandt came across a truly astounding place, a natural lake that seemingly turns all sorts of animals into stone. The ghastly Lake Natron in northern Tanzania is a salt lake, meaning that water flows in but does not flow out, so it can only escape by evaporation. Over time, as water evaporates, it leaves behind high concentrations of salt and other minerals, like at the Dead Sea and Utah's Great Salt Lake. Unlike those other lakes, though, Lake Natron is extremely alkaline due to high amounts of the chemical natron, which is a mix of sodium carbonate and baking soda in the water. The water's pH has been measured as high as 10.5, nearly as high as ammonia. Few creatures live in the harsh waters, which can reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. They are home to just a single fish species named Alcalapia latilibris, some algae, and a colony of flamingos that feeds on the algae and breeds on the shore. Frequently, though, migrating birds crash into the lake's surface. One theory is that the highly reflective, chemically dense waters act like a glass door, fooling birds into thinking they are flying through empty space. In fact, not long ago, a helicopter pilot tragically fell victim to the same illusion, and his crashed aircraft was rapidly corroded by the lake's waters. During dry season, when the waters recede, the birds' chemically preserved carcasses wash up along the coastline. Over the course of about 3 weeks, Brandt worked with locals to collect some of the most finely preserved specimens. They thought I was absolutely insane, some crazy white guy coming along offering money for people to basically go on a treasure hunt around the lake for dead birds, he says. When one time, someone showed up with an entire well-preserved fish eagle, it was extraordinary. Just encountering the water was dangerous. It's so caustic that even if you've got the tiniest cut, it's very painful, he says. Nobody would ever swim in this. It'd be complete madness. For the series of photos titled The Calcified, Brandt posed the carcasses in lifelike positions, but the bodies themselves are exactly the way birds were found. He insists, "All I did was position them on the branches, feeding them through their stiff talons." Horseshoe Lake. Mammoth Mountain is a young volcano on the southwest rim of Long Valley Caldera, a large volcanic depression in eastern California. The Long Valley area, well known for its superb skiing, hiking, and camping, has been volcanically active for about 4 million years. The most recent volcanic eruptions in the region occurred about 200 years ago, and earthquakes frequently shake the area. Because of this, the US Geological Survey, or USGS, operates an extensive network of instruments to monitor the continuing unrest in the Long Valley area. Numerous small earthquakes occurred beneath Mammoth Mountain from May to November 1989. Data collected from monitoring instruments during those months indicated that a small body of magma was rising through a fissure beneath the mountain. During the next year, US Forest Service rangers noticed areas of dead and dying trees on the mountain. After drought and insect infestations were eliminated as causes, a geologic explanation was suspected. USGS scientists then made measurements and discovered that the roots of the trees were being taken out by exceptionally high concentrations of carbon dioxide in the soil. Today, areas of dead and dying trees at Mammoth Mountain total more than 100 acres. Although plants produce oxygen from CO2 during photosynthesis, their roots need to absorb oxygen directly. The high CO2 concentrations in the soil on Mammoth Mountain are taking out trees by denying their roots oxygen and by interfering with nutrient uptake. In the areas of tree kill, CO2 makes up 20 to 95% of the gas content of the soil. Soil gas normally contains 1% or less CO2. When CO2 from soil leaves the ground, it normally mixes with the air and dissipates rapidly. CO2 is heavier than air, however, and it can collect at high concentrations in the lower parts of depressions and enclosures, posing a potential danger to people. Breathing air with more than 30% CO2 can very quickly cause unconsciousness and loss of life. Therefore, poorly ventilated areas above and below ground can be dangerous in areas of CO2 seepage. Where thick snowpacks accumulate in winter, the CO2 can be trapped by the snow. Dangerous levels of CO2 have been measured in pits dug in the snowpack in tree kill areas on Mammoth Mountain, and snow cave camping in such areas is not advised. Scientists think that the current episode of high CO2 emissions is the first such activity on the mountain for at least 250 years, because the oldest trees in the active tree kill areas are about that age. Carbon isotopic analysis of the annual growth rings in trees near the margins of the tree areas imply that the gas emission rate reached a peak in 1991, subsequently declined, and then has been relatively stable since about 1996. CO2 and other volcanic gases like helium seeping from Mammoth Mountain appear to be leaking from a large reservoir of gas supplied by repeated intrusions of magma. Tree ring evidence from near springs on the mountain's flanks show that some CO2 gas was leaking before 1989 and dissolving in the groundwater system. It is likely that the latest intrusion of magma in 1989 opened deep fractures, increasing the rate of gas seepage. Scientists with the USGS Volcano Hazards Program are closely monitoring CO2 emissions and other geologic hazards at Mammoth Mountain. The work of these scientists is only part of the USGS Volcano Hazards Program's ongoing efforts to protect people's lives and property in all the volcanic regions of the United States, including the Pacific Northwest, Alaska, Hawaii, and Arizona. But what do you make of these three fascinating lakes? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.